Did you know that almost 1/4 of the cars around you are driving with hidden suspension damage? That silent failure drains wallets by thousands of dollars and steals stopping power when you need it most. One pothole, one sudden swerve, and a weak suspension can turn into a full-blown safety nightmare. But not today. I am about to reveal 20 quick fixes that make your suspension ride smoother, hold alignment longer, and survive the worst roads you face. Stay to the end because tip 20 alone could wipe every repair bill you have ever paid. Ready? Let's save your suspension in the next few minutes. At number 20, let the suspension breathe. Most drivers stay on the brake right up to a pothole. That forces every pound of the car onto the front springs and leaves them half compressed before the wheel even hits the hole. The impact has nowhere to go except straight into metal. Tests show spikes of 40 to 50 times the force of gravity at the hub. That can bend a rim, pop a bushing, or knock out an ABS sensor in one hit. Instead, tap off the brake 1 second before the bump. That quick pause lets the suspension rebound so it can absorb the shock the way it was designed to. It feels odd at first, but the habit saves money and keeps the ride smooth. Tip number 19, replace worn bump stops. A single rubber plug about the size of a film canister stands between your suspension and a $1,000 repair. When the car bottoms out, that bump stop cushions the full weight of the vehicle. After 60 to 80,000 miles, it dries, cracks, and crumbles, especially in salty climates. Once it is gone, the next hard dip can blow a strut seal or dent a shock tower. The fix is simple. Anytime a strut is out, spend $10 to $30 on new bump stops and slide them on. Labor is free because the assembly is already apart, and the fresh rubber protects every major part around it. Tip number 18, grease serviceable joints. Ball joints and tie rod ends lie inches from the road where water and grit grind away their seals. When the boot cracks, old grease turns into abrasive paste and metal starts eating metal. Failure can be sudden and catastrophic. If your car has small metal nipples called Zerk fittings, a $20 grease gun is the best insurance you can buy. At every oil change, pump fresh grease until the old sludge squeezes out. The new grease pushes dirt away, restores lubrication, and keeps the joint tight. Fleet trucks that follow this routine often reach 200,000 miles on the original suspension. A 2-minute habit now prevents a wheel-off disaster later. Tip number 17, rust-proof before winter. Road salt is the silent killer of suspension parts. One season of brine can turn a $10 bolt into an $1,800 labor job when it snaps during routine service. Springs pit, control arm mounts flake, and alignment bolts fuse themselves in place long before you see a rust stain. The fix takes less than 10 minutes. Each fall, before the first snowfall, rinse the underbody, let it dry, then miscoil springs, bolts, and control arms with a lanolin-based rust inhibitor like fluid film or WD-40 Specialist corrosion inhibitor. These sprays creep into seams, repel water, and stay tacky for months, creating a waxy shield that salt cannot penetrate. One can cost less than lunch and can spare you the kind of repair that chunks entire weekends and paychecks. Tip number 16, rejuvenate rubber parts. Rubber bushings and boots are the joints and tendons of your suspension. Heat, ozone, UV light, and winter salt dry them out until they crack and squeak. A dried control arm bushing can send a $900 steering rack to an early grave, and a split CV boot can turn a $60 clamp into a $2,000 axle job. Twice a year in spring and fall, wipe visible rubber with a rubber-safe reconditioner such as AT205 Reseal. Do not use engine oil or multi-purpose sprays. Petroleum swells rubber and accelerates failure. The plasticizer soaks in, restores flexibility, and seals microscopic cracks, effectively rewinding the aging clock. 10 minutes with a rag preserves dozens of parts the shop would happily replace on your dime. Tip number 15, check ride height. During oil change, springs sag so slowly that most drivers never notice until they are buying tires every few months. A half-inch drop on one corner shifts camber by nearly a full degree, scalloping the inside edge of the tread in as little as 5,000 miles. During each oil change, park on level ground and measure from the center of each wheel hub straight up to the edge of the fender arch. Write the numbers in your logbook. If any corner loses more than a quarter inch or one side leans noticeably, the springs are waving a red flag. Replacing sagged springs and tired shocks together restores factory geometry, keeps alignment honest, and saves hundreds in premature tire wear. 2 minutes with a tape measure beats 2 hours at the tire shop every time. Tip number 14. Replace shocks before they beg. Shocks and struts rarely fail with a dramatic leak or snap. They just fade, mile by mile, until the ride feels normal again. Only it isn't. By 50 to 60,000 miles, a tire damper can add 25 feet to your stopping distance and let the tires skip for a split second after every bump. Electronic stability control and ABS can't help if the tire is airborne. The sneaky result is longer braking, vague steering, cupped tires, and bushing damage that snowballs into a $2,000 repair. The cure is simple. Treat dampers like timing belts. Scheduled maintenance, not a last-minute rescue. Replace all 4 around 60,000 miles, sooner if you haul heavy loads or drive rough roads. Swapping the set resets ride height, restores factory handling, and shields every joint that depends on steady control. One planned service beats years of hidden wear. Tip number 13, torque the bushings at ride height. Rubber bushings in control arms and trailing links are designed to flex from a neutral, unloaded position. If you tighten those bolts while the wheels hang in the air, the rubber is twisted before you even roll off the lift. Every bump then forces it past the limit, sawing cracks from the inside out. That twist also preloads the suspension, nudging alignment off spec and lifting or lowering a corner just enough to chew a tire. The fix costs nothing but diligence. Always snug and final torque suspension bolts with the vehicle's weight on its wheels or on stands that mimic ride height. 10 extra minutes doubles bushing life, locks alignment where the factory intended, and keeps squeaks and premature tire bills out of your future. Tip number 12. Support suspension during storage. Parking a car for weeks sounds harmless, but letting the wheels dangle on a jack stand slowly destroys the very parts you're trying to preserve. With no weight on them, bushings sit stretched in an unnatural twist, springs relax unevenly, shock seals dry and crack. Museum curators and pro fleets know the right move. Block under the control arms or axles so the suspension rests at normal ride height. If the tires must come off, place stands under the arms, not the frame. Add a quick shot of rust inhibitor on exposed metal, then walk away. When you return months later, bushings will still be supple, springs will hold their set, and the shocks won't greet you with an oily surprise. 15 minutes now saves $1,600 in mystery suspension fixes later. Tip number 11. Skip the rubber band tire trend. Those flashy 20-inch rims with wafer-thin sidewalls look sharp on the highway, but every mile they punish your suspension. A tire sidewall is the first shock absorber. Shave it down to 30 series rubber, and every pothole becomes a hammer blow to your struts, bearings, and bushings. Shops see the aftermath daily. Leaking shocks at 40,000 miles, wheel bearings howling before 60, and control arm bushings split down the middle. The fix is simple. Stay near factory wheel diameter and keep sidewalls at 45 series or taller. If you must go bigger, choose forged wheels to cut unsprung weight and run a tire with real flex. Your ride will stay quiet, parts will last longer, and you'll dodge the hidden $5,000 fashion tax waiting inside those skinny tires. Tip number 10. Replace suspension parts in pairs. Swapping just one shock, strut, or spring feels like saving money until the car starts drifting, bouncing unevenly, or chewing through a new set of tires. A fresh damper responds faster, sits higher, and controls rebound better than the tired one on the opposite side. That mismatch throws weight from side to side, overheating the new part and overloading bushings you thought were fine. Data from independent shops shows single corner fixes often come back within a year for the other side, plus an alignment and at least one ruined tire. Do it once, do it right. Replace left and right together, then get a proper alignment immediately after. The ride feels balanced, the tires wear evenly, and the new components won't burn out doing double duty. Tip number 9. Fix small fluid leaks early. A tiny drip of power steering fluid or engine oil might look harmless, but to rubber bushings, it's a slow-motion acid bath. Petroleum fluids soak into rubber, softening it from firm support into gummy putty in a matter of weeks, especially at engine bay temperatures. That mushy bushing lets wheels shift under load, changes toe and camber on the fly, and can turn a precise suspension into a clunking mess. Worse, By the time you hear the noise, the rubber is usually beyond saving. Instead, hunt leaks at every oil change. Look for damp hoses, weeping seals, or a shiny film on arms and cross members. Fix the source, flush the residue with brake cleaner, and wipe the area dry. Stopping the drip now is a $12 hose clamp. Waiting turns it into a $1,200 suspension rebuild. Tip number 8, don't hold full steering lock. That subtle groan you hear when the steering wheel hits its end, stop is your CV joints begging for mercy. Modern axles are happiest within a safe angle range. Crank them beyond that, and the internal bearings scrape, overheat, and stretch the rubber boot to its limit. In cold weather, the boot turns brittle, so one parking lot twist can split it wide open, flinging grease out and grit in. Within weeks, the joint grinds itself to failure and the bill rockets toward $2,000. The fix is effortless. When maneuvering, back the wheel off a single spoke from full lock. You lose an inch of turning radius, but gain years of axle life. Make it muscle memory, and you'll never have to price out a surprise half-shaft replacement. Tip number 7, touch up spring paint chips. A coil spring's painted skin is more than decoration. It's armor. Chip that coating and salt creeps in, rust chews a groove, and over time, the wire snaps. More than half the time, the broken coil spears the tire, turning a quiet rust spot into a roadside blowout. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration tracks these failures every year, mostly from salt belt cars that never got a simple touch-up. Whenever you spot bare metal on a spring, wire brush the rust, dab on a rust converter, and finish with a flexible chassis paint. Slide a protective sleeve over the lower coils for bonus security. $10 in supplies today avoids a $400 spring job, and whatever that shredded tire would have cost. Tip number 6, give the suspension a monthly workout. Cars hate sitting still. When a vehicle rests for weeks, bushings stay squashed, shock seals dry out, and springs can develop a permanent sag. The next time you finally drive, you're greeted with rear-end droop, squeaks, or misted struts that cost more than a full brake job to set right. The cure is free. Take the car out once a month for a 10 to 15-mile spin. Smooth neighborhood streets are fine. The goal is motion, not speed. Rolling flexes every joint, keeps seals oily, equalizes coil tension, and exposes leaks early while they're still cheap. Idling in the driveway doesn't count. Rubber needs movement. One short drive each month is $0 insurance against a stack of surprise suspension repairs. Tip number 5, replace Endlinks before they talk. That faint clunk over little road seams? It's usually the sway bar Endlinks whispering, "We're done." Those pencil-thin joints tie the suspension to the anti-roll bar. Once the internal ball starts to loosen, every pothole shock is transmitted straight into strut mounts and subframe brackets. A $160 pair of links left unchecked can snowball into a $700 strut mount and frame bracket repair. Typical lifespan, 70 to 90K miles. Faster in salted regions. Don't wait for the knock to get louder. Swap both links proactively, choose greasable aftermarket designs, and always torque them with the suspension loaded so the ball seats naturally. 10 minutes, 2 parts, and silence returns, plus a lot less stress on everything they connect. Tip number 4, clear cowl drains twice a year. One rogue leaf can trigger a $5,000 headache. Modern cars channel rainwater down hidden troughs, the cowl at the windshield base, and sunroof gutters. When these drains clog, water pools directly atop your strut towers, some of the chassis' most highly stressed suspension points. Moisture seeps past thin plastic caps, rusts the bearing plates, and rots the tower metal from the inside out. The cure, 5 minutes with a piece of weed whacker line every spring and fall. Pop the hood, locate the rubber drain grommets, snake the line through, and flush with a quick hose blast. Do the same for sunroof drains. Stay ahead of the leaves and pollen, and you'll never fund a body shop's vacation fixing a tower that rusted because of a leak. Tip number 3, warm up your tires gently. Below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius, tire rubber stiffens into something closer to hard plastic. Hit a manhole cover cold, and that thump you feel is the suspension absorbing a blow it was never meant to take. Cold tires also run lower pressure and form temporary flat spots, both of which chew the inner tread edge. Solution: treat your tires like muscles. Give them 5 minutes to stretch. On cold mornings, Keep speed and steering gentle for the first 3 to 5 miles. Check pressures monthly, adding 1 psi for every 10-degree Fahrenheit drop below the spec temperature. Once the rubber is warm and pliable, impacts spread through the sidewall instead of smashing bushings, ball joints, and wheel bearings. A calm first 5 minutes preserves years of smooth, quiet miles. Tip number 2, inspect after a big hit. One pothole can undo years of maintenance. Research shows 1 in 10 drivers shell out an average of $600 after a single impact. Often weeks later, when a bruised strut finally leaks or a chipped coil snaps and spears the tire. Don't gamble. Anytime you feel a harsh bang, pull over safely or look the car over that evening. Under hood glance, shine a flashlight at strut towers for fresh oil mist, chipped paint, or a corner sitting lower. Wheel check. Spin each wheel by hand. Listen for grind or wobble that hints at a bent rim or bearing. Tire sweep. Feel the inner shoulder for a new bulge or razor-sharp wear edge. 5 minutes now can stop a $2,000 cascade before the tire blows or the steering drifts into the next lane. And at number 1, run your VIN for free fixes. Thousands pay out of pocket for failures already covered by recalls or technical service bulletins. A Ford Explorer owner just spent $1,800 on tow links a dealership would have replaced for $0 if they checked first. Spend 60 seconds once a quarter. 1. Go to your automaker's recall page or nhtsa.gov/recalls. 2. Enter the 17-digit VIN from the dash or door jamb. 3. Print or screenshot any open recalls or TSB numbers. 4. Book the appointment. Parts and labor are free for safety recalls, and many TSBs are covered under powertrain or corrosion warranty. That quick search might score a complimentary set of control arms, rust-proof springs, or upgraded bushings. Repairs that keep your suspension bulletproof and your wallet intact. Your suspension is now armed with 20 battle-tested habits. Release the brake before bumps, grease the joints, mist away rust, replace in pairs, inspect after impacts, and let your VIN hunt down free upgrades. Practice these, and you'll drive a car that stays tight, tracks straight, and shrugs off the roughest roads for years to come. If this checklist saved you even the price of a lunch, tap like, hit subscribe, and share it with the friend who still thinks low-profile tires are worth it. Thanks for watching Car Tips HQ, where the best repair is the one you never pay for.